Right, welcome everybody. Welcome to AJ's Political Views, where we connect people in politics and make political speech easy to understand. Give you that old school radio talk show type of vibe with a little podcast on the side. I do want to welcome everybody to AJ's Political Views here on the UB2B. This is something that I'm doing different. For those that have been following me, you know that I typically and normally I am on over there on the Tiki-Taki, but I'm over here on the UB2B because things have changed. So I'm going to start loading various videos here on this platform, and I'm going to give you this look, this taste, this feel, this ideal, this thought. I think is very important. Don't you miss old school radio? It's still around. They want to change the name and call it podcast or call it this or that, but it's really the same old thing. It's still radio. I don't care how you name it, but it's good to put a new brand on it so people can accept it, receive it, and embrace it. I would like to talk about, I've been getting a lot of pushback as regards to my thoughts on celebrities and what's going on in the country right now. And a lot of people have had some issues with my thoughts on that. They come at me, well, they don't have to. It's not their responsibility. It's up to the American people. We need to be doing it all for ourselves. But aren't they Americans too? Aren't they considered citizens too? So why is it that there's an expectation for individuals that does not have the power nor the money to do what these individuals are capable of doing? Why is there such an expectation that we do far and beyond the individuals who are true citizens? And also, or Americans. I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's that it seems as though the ties have shifted. The expectation is that the American people, the working class American people, including the disabled, including the elderly, and even the children in some cases, are being required to do more than we're capable of doing because of our economic status, where we are. They want us to become subjects, not human beings. And if you didn't know what that meant, what that means is that there was a time in this country, nobody really was considered as a human being. You was considered as either subjects or property. And that's where they're trying to take us back to. They're trying to take us back to the place where we were only considered as subjects and property, meaning that we don't have any rights. We're given rights on a daily basis, depending upon the principles, the expectations, the things that you might be willing or not willing to do. This is the direction that they want to take us in the sense of the word servitude and slavery, subject and property, disconnected from any forms of righteousness as it relates to the people of America. And you don't think that some entertainers, and they may not be in on this situation, they're still making movies. They're still having concerts. They do these little symbols, gestures as regards to what's going on in the country. But, it's easy to do those things because they've been given instructions that that's okay. They can do that. But they're limited in what they can do, some of them. And some of them are afraid of what they can do and choose not to do anything at all because they are afraid of what could or might happen. So they just keep things to themselves. Now, I'm not going to start calling names here on particular celebrities that I'm talking about. But listen, there are a lot of messages that are being sent out here through entertainment. Yesterday, the other day, in fact, I had a conversation about, do you think that entertainment and politics are connected? Most people I asked that question to agreed that politics and entertainment is connected. And although many people refuse to admit that fact and try to avoid it, it's true. Because entertainment is nothing more than politics within itself. Some folks get opportunities that they don't even deserve. That's politics. Some folks are chosen to be in a certain role or play a certain position or get opportunities to move up mainly and sometimes because of who they know or what they're willing to do. Politics. So yes, not only is politics and entertainment connected, they're very similar in a lot of ways. And we're the ball. They're the players. And what they choose to do is to bounce us from one side to the next. Have us confused, mad, and angry at each other. Blaming one another for what we don't have. Using such things as hate, disagreements and misunderstandings and judgmental thoughts and religion and hypocrisy in the form of religion and colonization in the form of religion and all that mess that goes along with chaos. They choose to use that to continue to divide us, and they're using entertainers to do it. Some of your best and favorite entertainers and whom you love dearly, you probably wouldn't even think for a moment that those individuals are in cahoots with this administration. You probably wouldn't even think for a moment that they are in concert for a reason. Can it not be used as a form of distraction? I mean, think about it for a moment. What if every person, every individual who went to a concert was at a protest? What if every city where that concert went, which turned out to be thousands and thousands of people, was at a protest? And I'm not saying that having a concert is a bad thing. I'm not saying that enjoying entertainment, listening to music, dancing, acting, playing, performing is bad. Going to the movie. We need all that stuff, right? We need that stuff to maintain our sanity. We need a balance. But there's a time and a season for everything. And the question is, have we been doing certain things in the right season and time? One thing we never stop doing is worshiping, going to church on a Sunday. But imagine it if everybody just decided they're not going to go to services. They're going to go to a protest and fight for the innocence of children and fight for the elderly and fight for their communities, fight for their families, fight for their jobs, their benefits, their earned credits. Fight for the things that you have paid into. What if everybody did those things? What if everybody thought that way? What if everybody get beyond the hate, looking at each other as the blame for the circumstances that we're in? People consistently want to talk about the vote and who voted who into office, but at the end of the day, that's done. What is the solution? One thing I focus a lot on in my life is that problems will come and problems will go, but they'll only go if you have solutions. If you only focus on the problem and never come up with a solution, you still got the problem. So you should always have in mind the importance of coming up with the solution for the problem. And we got a lot of problems in America right now that need solutions. And some things are going to make you feel very uncomfortable. Certain conversations is going to make you feel very uncomfortable. Certain people you don't want, you may not feel good about talking about because you like them. You love them. You love their entertainment. You love their music. You love their shows. You love their concerts. You love their books. You love their clothing. You love their sports. You love the way they look, walk, and talk. And it makes you feel very uncomfortable to talk about your idol. Somebody that you look up to. Somebody that you like. Somebody that you appreciate. Makes you uncomfortable to speak truth to power, to tell it like it is. You don't want to go down that road because you believe that that's your hope. You believe that if I continue to focus on the positive and overlook the negative, although the negative is happening, it hasn't hit my door yet. And for that reason, it's not that important. It's not that important because I'm rich. Why am I worried about what's happening with somebody else when I got enough money to keep me here? If I need to move, I got enough money to move me. I got enough money to make sure my light, my gas, my water is taken care of. I got enough money to make sure that I eat when everybody else starve and suffer. I don't need EBT. I don't need Section 8. I don't need SSI. I don't need a 401k. I don't have to worry about transportation. I don't need Uber. I don't need Lyft unless I choose to use it, but I don't need it. I'm not worried about housing. I stay in some of the best places that anyone can live. The biggest houses that you've ever seen, or an apartment or a condo. I live in the best cities, towns, and states. The problem with most entertainers is that they've forgotten from which they come. Because not all of them started out that way. And those that did start out that way, they've always been disconnected from anybody else's experiences. Just like a person saying go, if you're born with a silver or gold spoon in your mouth, you don't know what it is to just have steel in your mouth. Okay? Or plastic in your mouth. Or paper in your mouth as it relates to straws. You wouldn't understand that. You wouldn't understand what it means to live below the poverty level. You wouldn't understand how important it is to embrace a title that don't exist, such as middle class, to make you feel like you somebody, when in fact you're still struggling. You don't know what it feels like when somebody tell you to invest in this, that, and the other, because if you want to get rich, it's possible. When the truth is, it's not meant for everybody to be rich. You wouldn't understand that because you, one person, one individual, got that one shot out of a million. The doors was open for you for whatever reason, and you might say, I work hard to get here. But it was your talents and your gifts that got you there, and somebody took note of that. But what did you have to pay to get it? What price did you pay? What did you give up? What did you let go? And who suffered because of you making it? Because that part nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about the people that had to go without so you can have. Nobody talk about the individuals that you stepped over, walked over, mistreated, talked to in any kind of way, lied on, manipulated to get what you have. Business is not good, you know. Not real business. Doesn't always represent good things happening. And people put up a persona that they're the best thing that ever happened. And in fact, if you go behind the scenes, unless you work with them one-on-one, you really wouldn't know them, right? There's names out here that people give praises to all the time because of the many different type of messages that they want you to see. But that's not really who they are. But as long as you see those good messages and have someone to give confirmation because they're getting better pay under this individual, or they get more roles, of course, I look for you to say something positive about that person. Why wouldn't you? If that person is doing good by you and have your best interest at heart and they making sure that you work and giving you the kind of money that you feel like you deserve, why would you say something negative about somebody like that? Even though you know that there are some things behind the scenes that you may not like, somewhat concerning. People know how to play with you. Play with your emotions, play with your mind, play with your words, play with your life. All we see is images, ideals, and thoughts. But facts, truth, it's very difficult to see at times. I mean, I never would have thought the gentleman that is in court right now, whose life is on the line, that reminds you of other ones who was in court. One life has been completely destroyed. Money's gone. Music, copyrights to music is gone. And they're sitting in a jail cell. And now there's a possibility that you could have someone else ends up right next to them. But in spite of all the conspiracy and the rumors and the gossip, I never would have thought that this individual would be doing the things that is coming out of court right now. And especially when he had so many friends and supporters who was in the entertainment industry, who loved him so much, supported him, bragged on him, talked about him. But you see, people are only your friends when they see where they can win. Once you become a loser, they don't want no parts of you. And losing is when your very existence become a stain on life alone. A stain on your life becomes a stain on everybody else's life if they engage with you. And even though they may be a part of the situation, they will never tell the truth about that because they don't want nobody else to know. We're living in an era where we've been thrown under the bus, not only by politicians, but by entertainers. Entertainers are throwing American people under the bus too. Some of the very ones that you're supporting. Some of the very ones that you're lifting up and praising and glorifying. Because you're only repeating what their friends are telling you to repeat. Promotions are real. Marketing is real. All they got to do is repeat it on various talk shows and repeat it on radio and repeat it in grocery stores and all different areas. And you will find as they repeat it, everybody else repeated it. And guess what? They're the best thing that ever happened to you. But is it real? Is it true? Is it factual? Is there something really going on behind the scenes that you don't know nothing about? Maybe. So you've been listening to AJ. I'm AJ, and this is AJ's Political Views. And if you want me to answer that question one more, yes. Politics and entertainment, without a shadow of a doubt, is connected. Until next time, later, everybody.